Hi everybody, it's me, Brett, and welcome to my show. I've got a green screen now. I can be wherever I want. Okay, so if you're new here to this whole concept, it's not very complicated. I basically just talk about all the games I played last year. No, not the games that necessarily came out last year, just the ones that I happened to play. And I dole out awards for the ones I thought were interesting or notable or whatever. Just whatever. I don't know what to do with my hands. How do I make videos? Now, I do generally prioritize the games that I actually completed in the year, the full list of which can be seen here.
That's a grand total of 20 games. 2 less than last year, but way more than my friend Cass, which puts us at 2-1. Best of 5, huh? Before we get started, I did spend the opening of last year's video explaining how emotionally shit 2018 was, so I should probably mention how I'm doing. Well, you'll be happy to know that 2019 was pretty kind to me. I got a new job, which I hated and ended up quitting, and I also had my heart smashed into a million billion pieces.
What was I talking about?
Seriously though, I really did have a pretty swell year. Sure, I went through some rough challenges, but I've got a fantastic support system.
I didn't even pay for the papers.
I learned so much about myself and where I'm headed. I even entered production on a video game of my own, so how about that?
Anyway, on to what's really important. Video games.
Best UI!
Super Mario Maker 2 has got to be one of the most impulsive purchases I made all year. Luckily, it's also an exceptionally well-crafted experience. Now, I'm no stranger to Mario level editors. I've dabbled in both Lunar Magic, the Super Mario World hacking tool, and the fan game Super Mario Bros. X. While those efforts got the job done, they certainly came off as bland software. Super Mario Maker 2, on the other hand, is so slick it almost doesn't even feel like the tool it really is. It's just that smooth an experience, largely owing to how quickly one can switch from editing to testing, and its impressively intuitive layout. For the most part, everything just kind of works how you'd expect it to. My brother and I spent hours making a level right off the bat with no tutorial whatsoever. Here's a code if you're interested, by the way. A ton of cutesy effects and graphics invoke a nostalgic Kid Pix kind of feel that serves as the cherry on top of this wonderful UI. It's a blast.
Honest game?
This award goes to the weirdest, most off-kilter game I played this year, and Poolirula is... it's called Poolirula. The local internet cafe has a replica arcade machine with literally hundreds of old-school ROMs loaded on, including mods.
I repeat, we have you surrounded.
And I think braving that list is the only way a normal person could ever stumble upon Taito's 1991 classic in 2019. Gameplay-wise, it's actually a fairly standard entry in the beat-em-up genre, except every single graphic is baffling. Like, what the hell is this thing? Oh my sweet Jesus! No, none of this! Please stop this! Why does every enemy turn into a dog, pig, or platypus? I don't know what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure it's a little racist. That town is so hid that no persons can live in, and the town people have escaped.
Most addictive.
If you were to chuck Ace Attorney, Zero Escape, and a few fistfuls of lollies into a blender, the result would probably look a bit like Danganronpa. This game is a mystery-solving visual novel that somehow manages to be both delightfully zany and horrifically gruesome. The mad bastards actually did it. Is it masterful in any particular aspect? Well, no, but it's likable enough across the board that the holistic experience is greater than the sum of its parts. The characters are fun enough, the overarching plot simmers with enticing questions, and it's all wrapped up in an effortless sense of style. This guy's eyebrows are ready to jump off the screen.
Whoa!
This game is very consumable. In fact, probably too consumable. Mechanically, it's a little more demanding than the rest of its genre, but on the cerebral level, where a mystery premise really counts, it's a little brainless. For better or worse, this made Danganronpa my comfort food, and I downed the entire thing ravenously. Much like a bag of lollies, this game didn't hold a lot of substance or health value, but damn if it isn't Moorish.
Surprise Darling Award!
Back in 2018, if you came into my room and told me Dragon Quest I would be one of my favorite game discoveries of the coming year, I probably would have called the police. But seriously though, I've never really gotten into JRPGs. Something about the turn-based combat, level grinding, and random encounters just put me to sleep. So why did I not only really enjoy a JRPG, but arguably the first JRPG? It lacks a strong story, multiple character classes, or even multiple characters. Well, as a modern gamer with a modern palette, there's something exciting and alien about the design sensibilities of 1986. For example, Dragon Quest features an open world, just like many modern games do. But modern open worlds are full of waypoints, mission objectives, and literal arrows telling us where to go. There's a great deal of effort poured into ensuring you won't accidentally get lost, or have an adventure. Dragon Quest, on the other hand, has an NPC recommend you visit a village to the east. So you just trek out into the wilderness in the vague direction of a place that may or may not be immediately important. There's no map. If you get lost and stumble into the wrong field, a super strong monster could easily kill you. And to be clear, there's one save point in the entire game. Staggering home with low health and mana feels like driving home with next to no fuel. Venturing deeper into a dark dungeon feels increasingly risky as you pray to God you'll find an exit soon. Dragon Quest I is hardly ageless, even in the Super Nintendo remake. It's a bit too obtuse in places, and I'd prefer less focus on grinding. But I was surprised with how well its simplicity and tension held up over 30 years later. I don't know, maybe I should try a few more JRPGs.
Best Atmosphere!
What could I possibly choose but Playdead's Inside? Every tiny detail of this game works in tandem to really sell this tense, vulnerable dystopia, to the point where talking over the footage feels like a crime. It's like listening to one of Beethoven's symphonies with director's commentary.
You can hear the intensity rising in this part, which makes it just so amazing to hear in your ear holes. I would recommend listening to this with no distractions.
Like, it speaks for itself, right? But this is an analysis video, so please allow me to mansplain. You play as a small boy who is seemingly on the run from some kind of brutal authoritarian state. The story's events are very much up to interpretation, but there certainly is a palpable emotional reality to this game. It's freaking terrifying. Most platformers are meant to feel sunny and fun. The music's upbeat. Maybe your hands aren't attached to your body. You know, there's cartoony aesthetic cues. Inside, on the other hand, is a sensory nightmare. Music is replaced with cold environmental ambience, the kind that makes you notice your own breaths. The sound effects are subtle and organic. Especially impressive is the way your character animates. His movements seem to adjust depending on momentum, as opposed to Mario's unchanging key poses. These choices don't just chase realism for its own sake, though. The realism puts us in the boy's shoes. We feel just as desperate and weak as he does. Hearing an unmarked van drive around in the background or barely outrunning a pack of vicious dogs got my heart racing in a way very few games ever have.
Adorbs Award!
This award goes to the game I most enjoyed for its flaws, not in spite of them. Which is why it feels so weird to give it to an unironically great game like Tekken 7. Its snappy and responsive gameplay makes it easy to pick up and hard to put down. But like, what the shit is going on with the storyline? I always thought these games were about, like, a martial arts tournament. No one told me they focused on World War III. The campaign is narrated by an investigative journalist whose family was killed in a bombing. Collateral damage in the global conflict between Jin and Kazuya. This is the same franchise with a fighting dinosaur, right? I have no idea to what degree this game takes itself seriously or not. For every moment of undeniably sincere storytelling, there's something so outrageously bad, it just has to be on purpose. I mean, not once in all my years of gaming have I ever been prompted to press A to throw my own son into a volcano.
What? Don't put this on me, Tekken 7. This was absolutely your idea. Alright, fine. I'll kill my son.
Best level design.
When you think of Banjo-Kazooie, chances are you think of the iconography, the music, or the goofy voices. It's a game that leaves an impression. But immaculate level design is the glue that holds this masterpiece together, and it's still some of the best in the genre. Put elegantly, Banjo is a game about exploring a wide open area and collecting shit. From musical notes to feathers and eggs. The appeal of collectibles is pretty simple. Ding! I got the thing! But they're surprisingly hard to balance. It's so easy for them to feel like a tedious horde of junk. But Banjo-Kazooie wisely knows why it's fun. Exploration, discovery, reward. Within genuinely non-linear levels, collectibles serve as a useful marker of where the player hasn't been yet. And because they have immediate use to the player as either ammunition or story progression, picking them up actually means a hoot. The most important collectible, Jiggies, are only awarded after particularly difficult tasks, which gives them real value. You know, as opposed to Super Mario Odyssey's Crystal Moons. Since the non-linear level design actually works, and is compact enough to not be overwhelming, Banjo-Kazooie makes you learn a space instead of consuming it like potato chips. Sometimes learning how the different areas connect really improves the flow, and may even be required to progress. Mad Monster Mansion in particular is a delight to unravel. This may all sound a little obvious, but considering how many games get this stuff wrong, I've gotta give props to Banjo-Kazooie.
Hottest dude.
Yes, we're still doing these Hottest Dude and Chick awards. It's a cornerstone of this series now. Anyway, there was some stiff competition for Hottest Dude this year. I mean, just look at Liu Kang.
And then there's Eric from Dragon Quest XI, who... he just kind of looks like his skin smells nice.
Are you sure you're straight?
No.
However, it wasn't a pretty boy who won this year, but Geralt from The Witcher 3. Okay, he's kind of a pretty boy. Well, maybe a pretty man? Point is, he is a man. A tall, ripped loner with a wolf motif carrying two swords on the one back, struggling to choose which insanely hot supermodel he wants to sleep with. I mean, he does come dangerously close to comical levels of manliness, right? He looks straight off the cover of one of those erotic novels for middle-aged women. But I mean, it works.
Hottest chick.
That one chick in the red pants from The Witcher 3. I think she's in White Orchard. I just really liked her character.
I assume this character probably has a name or something. I don't know. She's fucking hot!
Best innovation.
What is a video game? No, seriously. How do you define it? Okay, so it's this visual process with its own abstract rules and logic. The audience engages with and manipulates this process by inputting commands, usually with buttons. But not always. This tangible dialogue between audience and art is kind of the whole point. So, a video game could technically look like almost anything. And yet when we think of games, we think of very specific categories. 2D platformers, first-person shooters, erotic striptease block puzzles. Wait, what? The potential of video games is so infinitely broad that it's much safer to iterate on old classics. Most games seek new answers to old questions, but how many games dare to ask new questions? Well, this one does. Return of the Obra Dinn freaking rules. Okay, so you're investigating a ghost ship in the early 1800s. The crew? All dead. Your goal is to figure out the identity of every person on board and how they died. With the aid of a magic stopwatch, you're able to hear the events leading up to a victim's death and see the exact moment of their death in 3D space. Correctly deducing the entire crew's identity is no easy task, but all the information you need is right there in the game. You just need to use your observational skills and lateral thinking. You'll find yourself building a mental timeline, listening out for particular accents, and slowly whittling down a list of suspects. You may want to take notes. And if you thought you could brute force the whole thing, the game only confirms your successes in groups of 3. This game is so innovative because it found a system to have you solve an honest-to-God mystery in a free-form way. It doesn't hold your hand or guide you down a linear path of logic. I've never played anything quite like it.
Most disappointing award.
Hey, hold it just a gosh dang second. I promised myself I was gonna go a whole awards video without mentioning the S word.
You mean Sonic the Hedgehog?
He said move it along, Gary! No more of that!
Okay, best narrative.
Given I spent an entire segment gushing over how sexy the characters are, you might be surprised to discover I consider Witcher 3 to have one of the most impressive gaming narratives I've ever seen. I was surprised too. My brief stints with its predecessors had me rolling my eyes at their edgy pulp power fantasy. And maybe that was unfair, but Wild Hunt made me feel like the franchise had grown up. Like video games had grown up. Where to start? I could talk about the meticulously thought out map design that makes you believe in Velen or the streets of Novigrad as a real setting. I could talk about the sheer detail and intrigue packed into even side quests, so much so that they outshine the main quests of other games. But what impressed me the most about The Witcher 3's narrative was maturity. I can't count how many times a video game has had me saving the world, but how many games have made me navigate a tentative friendship with an ex-girlfriend, or punished me for thoughtlessly acting like a badass? The tutorials will never tell you this outright, but emotional intelligence is a big part of The Witcher 3. Games like Mass Effect or The Walking Dead like to telegraph which decisions alter the grander narrative, and they openly track character relationships. On the other hand, seemingly innocuous roleplay choices in The Witcher 3 can have heavy consequences that may not become clear until the game's final hours. Will you practice care and self-awareness even when it feels like the cameras aren't watching? Looking over my handiwork after the credits rolled, I couldn't help but feel slightly ashamed. I hadn't abandoned kindness, I hadn't meant to be a bad person, but ultimately, so many steps on my Geralt's journey were marked by hubris and lazy ignorance. It's a complex and challenging story, backed by some of the most consistently high-quality acting and cinematography you'll find in a modern RPG. And it kind of made me want to be better.
Game of the Year.
Okay, don't get too excited. This award isn't for the best game I played last year, it's for the best game I played last year that also released last year. And I only played like 3 of those. So, not a super competitive category, but still, let it be known that Mortal Kombat 11 is a really good game. I mean, what a sequel. I first got into this franchise with MK9, and watching it grow from low-budget goofy jank to beautifully bombastic AAA goofy jank has been magical. I feel like the proud father of a Bibarel. Is that how you say that? Bibarel? For years now, NetherRealm has been leading the fighting genre when it comes to content, and MK11 is no exception. You've got noob-friendly tutorials, heaps of alternate costumes, customizable movesets, unique dialogue, arcade endings, daily challenges, and the highest quality cinematic story mode you'll find in any fighting game. Fight me on that one. But on top of all that, Mortal Kombat 11 just shimmers in a way its predecessors could not. It plays like butter, and the visuals are jaw-dropping. Every character from the classic Sub-Zero to the gunslinger Aaron Black has been lovingly reimagined to be as cool as humanly possible, while also paying respect to their vast legacy. This is the best Liu Kang has ever looked. This is the best Kung Lao has ever jumped. Seriously, look at him jump. It just feels like Mortal Kombat is really coming to its own. It's matured into a gourmet fighter. Yeah, it's not perfect. The Terminator kicks weird. Progression is tedious and, okay, sure, some of the developers got PTSD from working on the extremely violent graphics, but at the end of the day... Wait, really? Fuck.
Finish him!
That is not finishing!
Mentions of honor.
Before we get to the grand finale, I wanted to shout out a few games that narrowly missed an award but still deserve mentioning. Missed Messages is a deeply emotional, thought-provoking game you can finish in one sitting for free. It inspired me to reach out to my mum, who happened to really need someone to talk to in that moment. I'd recommend it, though you may want to check the trigger warnings first if you've got any relevant trauma. Dragon Quest XI's narrative is a bit hit or miss, but one point in the game brought me shockingly close to tears, and that alone almost justifies the 50+ hours I poured into it. Lastly, Pyre is an incredibly creative and well-executed fantasy sports RPG. While it didn't win an award in any specific category, it's easily one of the most well-rounded games I've played all year, and among the best for sure. Okay, time for the moment of truth. Which game is gonna get the prestigious Personal Favorite Award for 2019? Which game managed to shine just a little brighter, beyond even the likes of Return of the Obra Dinn? The answer is none of them. Nothing beat Return of the Obra Dinn. I played a lot of interesting games last year. Some had great ideas, but very few executed their ideas with spotless mastery. You know, that 10 out of 10 nailed it as hard as you possibly could kind of flavor. Like Alien, or Back to the Future, or Bibarels. So cute. Return of the Obra Dinn is more than just a novel premise. It's perfect. A game about inferring connections between spread out pieces of information and filing little mysteries away for later could have been an obtuse nightmare, but the clues are just tasty enough to get your brain working without giving the game away. Despite its open-ended progression, the pacing is brilliant. Labeling the ship's crew inherently becomes a process of elimination, so the player is always becoming more powerful as they build intel. Obra Dinn's final third naturally picks up steam in a triumphant dash. The visuals are striking, but they also carry all kinds of connotations that strengthen the mood. I'm reminded of film noir, period-appropriate illustrations, and old-school computer games. How meta. And then there's the sound design, able to clue the player into important information while never sacrificing authenticity. And the non-diegetic sounds make you feel so good and smart for getting something right. It's hard to believe that this is only creator Lucas Pope's second commercial game. His first game put you in the shoes of an immigration officer stamping passports at the border. It's clear this guy is a visionary, someone willing to think outside the box and ask, "What is a video game?" before slam dunking his answer. I'll have to keep an eye on Lucas Pope.
Okay, I guess that's the video. thanks for watching. It does feel like I should have some climactic through line to tie this all up with, but I don't really. It's just a bunch of disparate thoughts about video games. But even still, like, in a way, this has kind of been like a shrine to a year of my life, so it feels like I should say something. I don't know, I had another hard year, but it didn't feel that shitty because I felt like I figured out that I just needed to become me, or I want to become even meer than I currently am. I want to be the meest me that anybody's ever seen, and I want to gain power. Because, I don't know, we've all got so much potential in here, and it's really hard to access it when you're, like, shackled to this diluted idea of who you think you should be instead of who you actually want to be. That's the freaking part you should listen to, man. I mean, freaking be yourself. Do be you, because I'm not gonna. I'm busy doing my shit. Actually, seriously, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And I barely even mentioned like the Hedgehog. Damn it! I got so far!
Okay, well, now that I've accidentally said the S word, you know how last year I was talking about how Sonic CD has a really good level complete jingle? Well, it turns out that's like a whole song, and it's like the cheesiest and best thing ever, and I just wanted to leave you with that.
Nothing to do if you gotta do something. You gotta do something. Believe in yourself. Yourself. Hey!